Okay, it is rolling. Anytime you're ready, go for it.
This is Tim Packer from timpackerartacademy.com and author of You Can Sell Your Art. You're listening to Vroom Vroom Veer with Jeff Smith, reminding you that you can make a living from your art.
See? Right?
Yep.
Easy peasy. All right, let me hit stop. I'll be right back.
Are you ready to thoughtfully steer away from your revved up, frenzied, and far too often scripted life? Then welcome to Vroom Vroom Veer with Jeff Smith, where he guides you down the road differently traveled by sharing unique experiences with guests who have managed to shift away from a life stuck on cruise control and veered their way into a more authentic and fulfilling one in all sorts of interesting and kind of remarkable ways. Get ready to Vroom Vroom Veer with your differently traveled road chauffeur, Jeff Smith.
Ralph Brewer, thank you so much for being on Vroom Vroom Veer and welcome to the show. How's it going?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. So you are at helpformen.com. And it's
You got it.
a pretty sweet looking website. So talk a little bit about what you're most excited about in your business, your coaching practice and the brotherhood, whatever you want to talk about. Give us some highlights from what's going on over there.
I tell you, the thing that we are the most proud of is our private community that we have for men called the Brotherhood that you talked about.
Yeah.
And you can learn more at helpformen.com. We have a page that people can join right at helpformen.com/join. And before we wrap up today, I want to make sure that your followers know that we have a special offer for them for guys that could use a little extra help in their life.
If you want to say that now, drop it. Go ahead.
Sure. You can go to helpformen.com/vroom. And we have several special offers. So we got a freebie on there and a couple of big discounts, 30% off of coaching with myself, as well as from the membership to the group. The group is already relatively low price to join. We're trying to get thousands of men in there to help out as many men as we can. You know, as we often say to people, I'm not getting rich off this.
You're not. That's a very nice, fairly priced, reasonable offer.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's the world of helping out people. It can be a lucrative thing for sure. There are people there that unfortunately take advantage of a lot of codependent men, people that are hurting a lot, and they will charge you thousands of dollars. There was recently it went viral because it was so ridiculous. There was, and this isn't new. You can spend $10,000 plus going to a boot camp and having men basically yell at you and call you a wuss and, tell you you're a failure. It's, it's an initiation thing that a lot of men are missing in life, that transition into manhood type of thing.
I can see that.
And so it appeals to a lot of men.
$10,000 to do that.
Oh, 10, 15,000 plus to go to these things.
I did it for free. I had a brother.
Very good. Well, I didn't, but my father was military, so maybe that
kind of counts.
That kind of filled that niche. So I was a military brat.
Oh, nice.
But no, we're trying to, and we're trying to reach as many men as possible. We have, we get together in discussion forums that are private. We get together in live Zoom meetings. We talk face to face, for example. We get together in person. We do all kinds of good stuff in that group.
Right.
And we've been at it we have our 6th annual conferences coming up in the U.S. Next year. So we've had 5 different conferences. We have a separate group that meets in Australia, and they're getting ready to have their 4th annual conference coming up here soon.
Wow.
So we've been at it for a while, and we're reaching guys all over the world. So we're very proud of what we do.
Officially global.
Officially global. It's weird. It's the U.S. is our number one market. Yes, we have guys in Europe. We have guys in Canada, all the English-speaking world, basically.
Yeah.
But our number 2 market right behind the U.S. is Australia. So for whatever reason.
I think that kind of makes sense.
You think so? Well, I haven't been able to explain exactly what it is about Australia that has a lot of men needing help, so to speak. But, what it is culturally there or whatever
I know a couple of Australian men, and I know a lot of...
So it makes sense to you?
I know a lot of British men. Mm-hmm. British men a little bit more reluctant to talk about things.
Yes.
How's that sound?
Culturally a little bit more closed.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
so that
for sure.
Now Europeans though, like if they're French people, all Europeans very open.
Well,
very open to talk, but maybe the English is the barrier. I'm not sure. Yeah. But.
I have a European connection. My mother is from Spain. So
Perfect.
Half of my family
very
is from
open.
Spain. You could say that. And then, but my wife is from Germany.
Not so open.
Not so open.
Not so open.
Yeah,
you
the
can't.
two
Yes,
opposite.
I'm painting them with a very wide brush.
But you nailed it. One's the passionate Spaniard, and the other one's the more reserved.
Yeah.
German.
I have funny
staunch German.
stories about Germany that I'll leave to when the recorder's not on, because I don't want to offend our German friends.
I'm sure you
But
do. I have some as well.
I don't think anybody would be surprised if we say, English people and German people are relatively more uptight than, say, their Spanish, Italian, Australian counterparts. That's not. I think a consensus could be formed.
I think you're right. I think you nailed it.
Without offending anybody. Well,
Exactly.
maybe I did.
Yeah.
It's very easy to offend these days.
That it is. I've learned that over the years. Yes, I've been putting out a lot of material online. Some people, I don't know, the video of this will come out, but some people see me on some of these, and they're like, I don't know who that is, but I know his bald head. I've seen him around because I post a lot of little video clips all over the place.
As a fellow bald person, I'm kind of envious of your head. Yes.
Fellow toe. My family calls me a toe. So I got a funny story you may like.
Yes, please.
So when I remarried, and we'll go into the divorce and all that other stuff, but I remarried Natalie, and we have a child together. And when she was around 2 years of age, maybe a little younger, we were at a restaurant that the theme of the restaurant was eggs. It's called Wild Eggs in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And they have eggs all over the place, pictures of eggs and eggs on the table, eggs everywhere. And
Eggs
there was
with legs.
yes. There was a big picture of an egg up on the wall, and my daughter pointed at it and said, "Papa." Ah. So we still laugh about that to this day.
That's awesome.
The egg. So she just saw that. Is it though? Is it awesome?
Well,
I guess. Sure.
I'm okay.
Better than toe.
I'm okay with it. To me,
Okay.
like when
You've embraced your baldness.
I have, yes. And like people like talk to me and say, "You could grow hair," I think. And I'm going, "Yeah, but why?"
No, okay. Well, I couldn't. I could everywhere but this middle patch, so I just let it all go.
Yeah.
I shave it all off.
When I went on my very first deployment in 2002 from England to Saudi Arabia, I was still doing the comb over thing, right? And it was already straining credibility. It was like, it's not working, right? Because I've got like all of the patterns of hair loss going on up there, right? So whatever I was trying to do, it was, mostly to humor my wife, right? Because she doesn't want what you've got. Thus, I still have a little there.
Got some fuzz there.
That's what she likes. Okay. Right. Anyway, one of my buddy's wife offered to cut my hair, for deployment, right? Very like it was like a 2 all over. If that makes sense to you.
Sure. Number 2 guard. Yeah. I know
a number 2 guard
thing well.
The clipper guard, right? And then when I got to the desert, I was like, what's up with this 2? Screw the 2. Let's just go 1 all over, I want to be what did they call it? High speed, low drag. And then my wife, after I got back, we learned how to cut my hair together. So now we've been doing that since, and I'm not going back. I don't want to have hair anymore. It's just so much more easy not to have hair.
Yeah, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I missed it. I had a very, very thick head of hair as a kid. It was very puffy.
Yeah.
And, and I often share this, that I had a lady who cut my hair as a kid, and she was going through my hair, and she goes, "Honey, you never have to worry about losing your hair, not with this head of hair." And I was like, yay. And then it's like around late 20s, it just started falling out like crazy. My father was bald.
Yeah.
All my uncles on my mom's side, they were all bald. So it was inevitable, unfortunately.
Well,
bald talk, ladies and gentlemen.
I think you look great. I think you got a
thank
nice
you. I
looking
appreciate
bald
that.
head.
I've been told that I pull it off. The head shape, thankfully, is not too grotesque. So,
no, I think it works. Yeah.
Thank you.
The thing that like people that know you when you had hair will like look at you and go, right? But once you get used to looking at it, but like from a stranger's perspective, you look great. Anyway,
thank you. Appreciate that.
Let's go back in time and talk about Ralph growing up. So where did you grow up? What was like childhood like? What were you like in high school? That kind of stuff.
Most of my childhood was spent in rural Indiana.
Okay, Midwestern guy.
Yeah, I was born overseas, though.
Okay.
Until I was about 3 years of age, we moved to the States when I believe I was about 3. We lived in Florida. I don't remember that at all, but most what I do remember in my childhood was Indiana. So am I a Hoosier? I guess. I don't have much, if any family that I know of in that area, but if you talk about my childhood, that's the old childhood home. Linton, Indiana, Linton, for anybody listening to this, that's a fellow Hoosier.
Okay.
It is there's Bloomington, Indiana, which is where Indiana University is. Then there's Terre Haute, Indiana, which is where Indiana State is. That's where I went to school.
Okay.
Pretty much right between those two is little Linton, Indiana. About 5,000 people is the size of the town. So pretty small.
Tiny.
Yeah, and
Twin
I
Peaks
was a
size.
kid whose mother, when we moved to the States, was learning English, and she was learning how to drive, and she was, she was as foreign as it gets, and so that really set me apart from the rest.
Right.
Having a Spanish mother who spoke with a very heavy accent.
Yeah.
And I remember around the time the Iraq War started. My father was American military, U.S. Air Force, so he was deployed over there. He had to go over there and help support the effort. He was stationed in Turkey, Incirlik, Turkey. He had a base.
Yep.
And he
You
was
were
also
there in Incirlik or Riyadh. Yeah.
Incirlik. Yep. And he was in Bahrain for a bit and other
Bahrain's
places.
the spot, man. That's a good spot.
Apparently. So-
You could drink. There was a boat.
But I remember during that, it was a very, as Midwest small towns go, pretty close-minded. There was some racism and other things going on there. And I remember when that war hit off, there was a lot of anti-Middle Eastern fervor going on in a lot of parts of the country.
Yep.
And anti-Muslim. And my mother has very different. She's Spanish, so the Spanish people, if you don't know, their background is there's some Northern African in there, and there's some other thing, which gives you an appearance. You can be passed as an Arabic woman.
Sure.
And she had to deal with a lot of that, like go back to Iraq and things like that. I remember that.
Ouch.
So I got a very minute taste of that kind of world. So in some ways, it was not the most pleasant place in the world to grow up. Definitely very insulated. I would go back to Spain as a kid during some summers, so I had still
Spain's
that.
great. Wow, I love Spain.
It is.
But
it's kind of like the Florida of Europe.
Correct.
That's where everybody goes to vacation.
Yeah.
A lot of Brits there.
When I was in England, my wife and I realized England is cold, dark, and wet.
Rainy. Yeah.
I mean, it's like they make the roads out of light absorbing materials or something. It's just depressingly. You get sad and seasonal affective disorder. So we committed.
Food not great there.
Okay, it gets bashed a lot, but it's not as bad as everybody says. Like, there's some really good food that I kind of miss now.
I like of all the European countries, culture-wise, really in general, I'm really partial to Italy. Italy's my place. I don't know why, but I just felt very at home there. The food's amazing. The people are amazing. It's just the way of life there, very laid back.
They kind of like live to work. No, they work to live. Work to live. There you go. Not live to work.
Not the opposites.
Exactly.
No, and the Spaniards pride themselves on that too. They like to take a lot of naps.
Right.
So
right. I couldn't do it. Like all those years in the military, I couldn't live that. I guess I could, but it would take a huge amount of adjustment to eat dinner at 10 o'clock, right?
Very different.
Stay
Very
up
different.
all night.
A lot of drinking.
Lots
of
drinking.
wine drinking.
Yes, a lot of eating. I could do it for a month. I think it would be fun.
Well, I did it as a kid for like 3 months at a time, stretch.
great.
Just did that a few times for summer. So, and then I would start to pick up the language with Spanish and start thinking in Spanish, but then I'd lose it as soon as I came back to the States. And My mother and father spoke Spanish around me when they didn't want me to understand what it is they were talking about. That was the way to talk about something in front of the kids. So a little secret of something or talk about me or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and my mother always kicks herself for not sitting me down and forcibly teaching me Spanish. So I really can't communicate with my family back in Spain, which I still have aunts, uncles, cousins back there.
Yeah.
So back to me growing up, that was kind of paints a picture for a little bit of a, I don't know how to say the split in the life there. My father's family grew up in the Midwest, so I had that tie there. But I don't know my father's family at all, which is very unusual.
Okay.
But he grew up in a very dysfunctional, not nice family.
Gotcha.
And he basically forcibly said, I'm going to keep my family, my wife and my kid. I was an only child.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep them away from that toxicity as much as possible.
Holy cow.
So
That's some
they're
serious
around,
amounts.
folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, we don't talk about them. And I just understood as a kid growing up, we don't talk about dad's past and family. That's
Okay.
just kind of a verboten topic. We don't go there.
Wow.
This was unusual, though, a little unusual quirk here, a little Veer in the story, if you will.
Yeah.
I had almost like an adoptive family. My dad's best friend growing up as a child, I called my uncle.
Sure.
And
That's
that
a very
uncle,
Midwest thing.
yeah, and
I
that
had an Uncle
uncle's
Tom. Yes.
that uncle's mom and dad and sister were kind of my grandma, grandpa, and that's what I called them. I called them
Okay.
Granny and Grandpa.
Oh,
and we
that's
went over
awesome.
there for every holiday. They basically adopted us as their
Adopted.
extended
Nice.
family. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was who I looked at as that was kind of a cornerstone for very
So you kind of like you had cousins and brothers and
one. But yeah, I had a
Yeah.
cousin Chris, and then Uncle Kurt, and Aunt Debbie, and
Yeah.
Grandma and Grandpa, and we went over there for all the major holidays, and that was really the cornerstone for stability, very secure environment. So I had that at least. Thankfully, my dad had that and realized the importance of that.
That's a military tradition too. Like
It is,
when I
very
was stationed overseas and I was like 18 in Japan, I got adopted. Right? It was like, what are you doing for the holidays? Never mind, you're coming to my house.
Yeah.
Take off your shoes.
So I was very blessed in that way to have that at least.
Right.
Without that, woof, it would have been kind of a solitary existence. Let me
Right.
make this caller go away.
Right,
So, what? And then Grandpa eventually passed away when I was in high school. That was sad. And then that life kind of disintegrated. Grandma moved to Florida. Aunt so and so in Florida, and never kind of left.
Right.
But I was going on to my next chapter of life anyway, which was college.
Okay.
And then I did meet a gal in high school who was my girlfriend in my senior year of high school, girlfriend all through college, and ended up being my wife.
Right.
And I had my own baggage, obviously, from my father's and my mother. By the way, we could we could talk about that for a while. But my mother grew up in post-Civil War Spain. Francisco Franco. So Franco was a fascist dictator, basically.
Yep.
One of Hitler's buddies.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was in power in Spain up until when I was born in 1975.
Wow.
So she had to live under that rule for all of that. And her father was one of many people made to disappear under Franco's regime. If you weren't a friend of Franco's, they found out about it pretty quick, and they either put you away in the prison or you just went away, and no one was quite sure where you went. He was one of those, unfortunately, which left mom to care for 7 kids.
Oh, my.
And that didn't go over too well, I guess. That's a lot of stress and a lot of dysfunction in that family.
Ouch.
Mom had some almost kind of quasi-narcissistic traits about her from some of the stories I hear. So my mom was like quick to want to get the hell out of Dodge. So when this American GI met her, very quickly they dated, and pretty quickly they got married, and pretty quickly she left, and they had me and all that stuff.
Right.
And so you got that baggage and my father's baggage, and they didn't have the greatest relationship in the world. I met a gal who had her own flavor of baggage. This is a story that's very familiar in my world.
Sure.
And then to make a very long story short, career changes, career success, not so good success, blah, blah, blah. It all blew up in my face 15 years later and 3 kids later.
Wow. Okay.
When I was...
That's a lot of rooming. 15 years of rooming and 3 kids.
That's a lot of rooming.
That's a lot of
I like
rooming.
it. Let me pause the story to say the title of your podcast, kudos to you. Awesome. I love it. It's just very different.
Can't take credit.
You cannot take credit. Was this the wife?
Well,
or?
No. I hired some guys that charged me too much for branding. And it was like this weeks-long branding engagement. And something came out of my mouth. And then Vroom, Vroom, Veer came out of them. So... bless them.
I like it. Well, they did a good job because I remember it, and I've repeated it several times to folks. I'm like, I'm going on this podcast called "This is a different one, folks." Vroom, Vroom, Veer of all things, and so good. But anyway, So
it begs an explanation.
There you go. That's everything, because so many podcasts are just very boom, boom with Joe Blow, and it's very obvious what it is. This requires some exploration. So good job. But anyway, so I was on vacation with my family. 3 kids, 1.5 years old, 6 years old, 9 years old. Picture it, Florida. I hurt my back. It's a lot of detail here, but it all ties in together. I hurt my back while on the beach, and I'm hobbling around on the beach going, this hurts. And the little one's getting cranky, and the wife says, why don't you take the little one back up to the little condo, which is about 100 yards from the beach, and I'll stay here with the older 2 kids. I'm like, yes, so I can rest my back. And so I take the kid up, shower him off, put him to bed. I lay down on the couch. I reach for the laptop, and I'm on the laptop doing my thing, surfing the web, Facebook. And I get on Facebook. To make a very painful long story short, the ex-wife left herself, yes, ex-wife, left herself logged in, and I discovered she was having an extramarital affair. And it had been going on for a few months.
Okay.
From that point forward, my life just, that was talking about the Veer.
There's a Veer.
There's a Veer. We went from, I had the most, you put it on paper.
What does that moment feel like?
Oh,
get into that moment. Is it that stomach sinking kind of thing? Or did you kind of already have some sort of sense?
No, that was the thing.
No sense.
But
so it just blindsided
in hindsight,
you.
In hindsight, I must have had some subconscious thing or something saying, Ralph, wake up, there's something going on here.
Okay,
Because
right.
I wasn't just, there's her conversation on the screen, for example. It was, I had to dig. I had to go, well, here's a message indicator, click. Why am I clicking on my wife's messages on Facebook? I never did that before. I never snooped. I never had nothing. Right. But here's me going and click and then reading what was the tail end of a conversation she had obviously been deleting. And it wasn't enough to make any sense completely. So it wasn't saying, Ralph, she's having an affair, but it was saying, to leave out some gory detail, it was enough to say, that's an inappropriate conversation with another person. Why would somebody say that to a guy? To her? And this is very, very
it's not a smoking gun, but there's smoke.
Yeah.
There's a lot of smoke. Okay.
It's so stereotypical. It was her personal trainer guy.
Yep.
It was they had a relationship, which I knew about, obviously, close one, obviously, but hey, my wife would never do that, right? And then I see this and I'm like, that's not right. So I made a mistake / good move, and I explained that. The mistake was pick up phone, call wife who's sitting on the beach 100 yards away going, look what let me tell you what I just saw. What the heck is going on here?
Oh, that's what you did?
Yeah, that's what I did, because I'm very confused. So I didn't know enough for me to have this. So you're saying,
in retrospect, not a good move?
Because you should probably hold some.
Yet.
I wasn't, but you should probably hold some stuff back and go, okay, let's not jump to conclusions
let's
here.
Let's figure this out.
Let's dig further before I go, what the heck's going on here? And if there is something going on there, maybe get my ducks in a row, call an attorney, whatever.
Right. Let me prepare myself for that.
But I just knee-jerk saying, what the hell is going on here?
Right.
And her instant was, it's not what you think. Yes, flirting, sure, blah, 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 but there's no affair, nothing like that. I'm like, then why would you say this and that? This isn't making sense. Tears, drama, blah, blah, blah.
On vacation, too. Oh, and
day one of vacation, no less.
Ouch.
Oh, awful. So,
needless to say, you wanted your money back and you wanted to get home.
This is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
So,
talk about vacation from hell.
Oh, but just the angst of not knowing of this, what the heck is going on here, then the drama involved. So how long did it
take you to figure out that you needed to get a divorce?
We get back home, and she agreed, let's go talk to somebody about this, a counselor person. My ex was, and probably still is, what we call in the psych world, I'm not a psychologist, but in that world, a very avoidant individual.
Okay.
Talk about reserve. We don't talk about feelings. Vulnerability was not in her vocabulary at all. So we don't. So for her to go to a counselor, kind of a big deal. So let's go to a counselor. And the counseling session was basically a lot of denial, a lot of tears, a lot of some real truths came out in that one session. This was our one and only session. Okay. And a lot of not so truthful things where I'm left going, what? That's not what happened. This is not. It left me more confused than anything.
Okay.
She even had the counselor convinced, like, there's nothing happening here. This is all. And I'm just like, none of this is making sense. And I just could not drop it. So I went into what a lot of very anxious men do. I call myself an anxious guy. That's most of my audience. What a lot of anxious dudes do is time to play private investigator.
Okay.
And thanks to these dumb phones and thanks to the computer and everything else, that is not so difficult these days. If you know what you're doing, you can find what you want to find. And I did.
Okay.
And everything showed.
So now you're looking for evidence, as they say.
She had been involved in a full-blown affair for about 3 months at that point.
Okay.
So, and I was Mr. Anxious trying to hang on, a very codependent streak in me. Thank you, childhood, and everything goes with it. And I wanted to make the marriage work. If we could, let's not blow up this family for this.
Right.
Can we work past this? We got the family, got the kid.
Right.
And her answer was, no, I'm done here.
Wow.
And she took off and she filed for a divorce. And 60 days later, we were done. Just like that. That's all it took.
Wow.
Thankfully, there was no major financial custody, whatever. She was ready to go. She was like, "The house is yours. Have it.
Wow.
Can I keep one of the vehicles? Yeah, you get one of the vehicles is paid for. That's yours. So you have no car payment anymore. Go rent you a place." She did. She moved on with the next chapter of her life. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, it involved not only her physically leaving, but emotionally kind of distancing herself from the children.
Okay.
So she was very much going through something. If you want to call it a midlife crisis, if you want to call it,
Sure.
there were some family things that
She brought in
precipitated
her own baggage, right?
she had her own baggage, but it really bubbled to the surface, as I often say, due to some really acutely painful family things that had happened before all of this.
Okay.
A brother went to prison, for goodness sakes. A sister that was, so there's a lot of not so good stuff in her family.
Gotcha.
And that kept building and building, and kaboom, she exploded. The affair, I'm leaving you. The kid, I had the kids about 80% of the time. There was a time period there. She was very much not involved.
Wow.
But to her credit, to anyone listening to this going, "I know Ralph," I will be the first to say she has done an excellent, excellent job over the past so many years of being an excellent co-parent.
Okay,
And
great.
she has really turned things around for herself. So
Okay.
bravo to her.
She
So
got the help she needed.
Whatever that was, I don't know.
You don't
maybe
know.
it was maybe
But
it was internal.
she started showing up, so to speak.
Thank you. Best way to put it.
Yeah.
So she has definitely shown up way more so than what she did. Answer to the questions that everybody has. Yes, she's still with that man.
Oh, okay, good.
They're not married, living together. Yes, they own a business together. The whole 9 yards. So
Okay.
I honestly,
Bless them. Bless them.
honestly, I hope that this results in happiness for her, that she's doing well
Right.
and all those. Because I have in fact moved on from that.
Right.
I at that time was very traumatized by all of this. It sounds fast.
I want to
it was
say,
fast.
it's a different story narrative that most dudes, I guess, anybody really, is like. So there was definitely things going on with her because she was already. It's almost like the affair was a reason to get out of the relationship. Would that be a fair?
It was a perfect, has often frame it as that it was a perfect storm of issues that all came together. And really the affair, yes, was the last stick of dynamite thrown in there to blow it all up.
Okay.
But it was already on its way down.
Like she wanted out for whatever reason. It
Yeah,
seems like.
could very well be. Although she
you
was
don't go
secretive
to,
about it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
she could have come to me and said, hey,
She didn't
mature
wanna
in
talk
hindsight,
about it.
a very mature way of saying, look, I've met somebody else. I fall in love. I'm sorry. I don't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to
Right.
But this has happened. I want a divorce. That would have been a very mature yet painful way of going about all this.
Hard.
But instead,
Right.
instead it was secretive and a lot of what we call gaslighting. And no, you're not. You're seeing things. This isn't true. And blah
Right,
blah blah.
right.
And blaming and everything else.
Right.
And so a lot of drama that went with it. And then I'm left alone, going, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
I'm not making enough money to basically support 3 kids on my own and all this other stuff because she was making more than me. So there goes over half the family income goes bye-bye. And now I got to scramble to make more money and
Right.
take care of 3 kids. And
Right.
it was awful. And then I started getting into what a lot of men do, men and women both post-divorce, is it's time to reconnect with things that I kind of have forgotten about myself, which
Yeah.
can be a very positive thing. So I started getting into playing guitar, something I dropped when I got married and had kids, and other things, and reconnecting with old friends and things like that. And then
Okay.
one of the things was writing. I love to do creative writing and
Okay.
journaling way back in the day when I was in college and so forth. That was like my thing. Got away from it completely. I'm going to redo that. In fact, I'm going to start a blog, which who reads blogs? There's billions of them out there, right? But I'm going to do my own blog, damn it. And I'm going to find a little domain and what to call it. I'm a dad starting over in life. So I'm going to see if Dad Starting Over is available as a domain, and it was.
Beautiful.
And so I blogged for a while under dadstartingover.com, and I created a little online presence, Dad Starting Over, and a few people read things here and there. But no one really cared much, it's all for me, basically, until I wrote on one topic. And if you're a marketing business guy, you're like, well, of course, Ralph. The one topic was the old SEX. If
Sure.
I wrote on the topic of sex, more specifically like sex and marriage and my experience post-divorce and dating and everything else, that's where I got attention.
That makes
So much
sense.
so that a guy suggested I write a book on the topic because they really liked what I had to say about my experience in sex and marriage with wife number one and what I learned from that and what that meant for a connection between us. And
Wow.
it
Yeah.
wasn't great. And then what I learned from that post-divorce, and I wrote a book, and it was called The Dead Bedroom Fix.
Right.
And the first version was written in 2017. One of the few readers said, I can help you market this book, no charge. This is what I do for a living. I love your stuff. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
And boom, it took off.
Oh, neat.
And tens of thousands of people read the thing.
Oh, wow.
And I got lucky. For a self-published book, with no marketing muscle behind it at all, other than little ads on Facebook here and there,
right.
It took off.
That's amazing.
So that got people reading my other material.
Okay.
And that got people saying,
reading the original Dad Starting Over. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so can I talk to you? Can I buy some of your time? I never thought about charging my time.
There you go. That is a business that sort of like it came to you and said.
It came to me, no plan whatsoever.
Ralph,
never in a million years thought I wanted to do this.
People are asking to pay you now.
Yeah, I'm like, and how that began technically was I was giving my time away for free, chatting like on Skype or whatever. Some guy says, can we do a voice chat? And I do a voice chat. Next thing you know, an hour and a half's going by, and I just enjoyed it. I like talking and sharing my story. Yeah, and then somebody said the magic word again. It's not really fair that you just give away your time. You should charge for this. This is really good. And I was like, never thought about that either. Right. So I never thought about writing a book until somebody suggested it. Never thought about charging for my time to do coaching or mentoring, whatever, until somebody suggested it. Next thing you know, that's building and building. Next thing you know, I'm starting a group on Facebook, a little member group, which grew into like a full-blown membership, which I'm just skipping a lot of steps here. Several more books later, 2 more editions of the Dead Bedroom Fix.
Right.
Let's create a more holistic brand that includes everybody called Help for Men.
Right.
I still put out content under the Dad Starting Over name. You can find me on Facebook and YouTube and everywhere else.
There's
it's very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all that. It's hundreds of thousands of followers there.
Wow.
And then, but the Help for Men is our main organization.
Right.
You can find articles, videos, and everything, courses. And then we have under that the Brotherhood, which is our private community for men.
Which is amazing.
And that has been extremely rewarding to get involved in.
Right.
Because now we're just helping men from all over the place. I've had some national attention on the news. Forbes did a big interview with me. I've been on NewsNation, which is kind of like a CNN thing.
Right.
What else? Yeah, a couple of other that are escaping me right now. New York Magazine did a thing for them.
Right.
All because that name Help for Men and some of the material we had on there. They wanted to talk to me for whatever reason about the last election. There was somebody did a story on divorced men seem to really vote for Trump and the Republicans more so than Democrats. Why is that? And for some reason, they all came to me asking me. So I would get really good airtime talking about politics, something I hate, by the way. Right. I hate politics and everything to do with it.
I wouldn't even know how to answer the question, but good for you.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about it. And Forbes did like a half-hour, chat with me all about that. So and that got more attention. So we've been really growing, and it's myself and 6 other guys that do coaching, and we host meetings, and we have very active discussion forums,
right?
And we have the in-person conferences that we get together, all kinds of cool stuff, and I just love it.
So let's talk about some of the things that you talk about. I mean, we got about 20 minutes left, so don't let me forget. We have to say things towards the end. It's your job.
All right.
I'm having too much fun now. But remember to say helpformen.com/vroom. There, I did it.
There you go. Helpformen.com/vroom.
To get some freebies. Okay, so we've done that work. Yes. All right, so what? So the book. Talk about that first book, the Dead Bedroom Fix. So give us the overview.
I could have titled that book, How to Be a More Secure Individual, How to Overcome Your Insecurities as an Anxious Dude.
Right. But that wouldn't sell, though. Right.
In order to cultivate an environment that allows you to be more apt to have a healthy sex life with your spouse.
There you go.
But Dead Bedroom Fixed. Boom, boom, boom. That got the attention.
Right.
So I really lucked out with that thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just like I say, it's that we started noticing patterns with a lot of the guys that reach out to me for help with stuff and talking.
Right.
All of them are not all of them. That's not fair to say. The vast majority are what you would call very codependent in nature, as far as and very anxiously attached to their partners. And they tend to partner up with women who are very avoidant in nature.
Wow.
The women are like, no, I don't want to talk about that. No, I don't want to go to counseling. No, I don't want to listen to the podcast. No, I don't want to read the book.
Okay.
And these men have a library of books behind them. They have podcast after podcast about relationship stuff and self-improvement stuff and all that other good thing. YouTube videos out the wazoo that they've watched, but they are with it.
And she's busy shopping and doing
or she's just busy living her own life and doing her own thing.
Right.
a
Whatever
lot of
it is
men,
that she's doing, yes.
A lot of men equate it with, it seems like my 39-year-old wife has already entered in kind of a grandma mode. Like she's happy, crocheting and doing her thing on the couch.
My
and
wife and
TV.
my wife and I consciously decided not to have kids, in our 30s. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we realized okay, we skipped this huge chunk, right, of the narrative. And then at the same time, when we went to Spain from England, it was whatever it was about us in our, heads, we always ended up in the resorts that were filled with retirees. I was wait, what? And that wasn't on purpose, right? We weren't let's go to the place where all the retired people are. It just happened because we were filtering, right? We don't want kids around. Right. And that it just happened to be there. Yeah. So I get that.
And
I can
whether
relate. Yes.
Whether you said it overtly or not, when you had the discussion of whether or not to have kids, what you tapped into, whether you know it or not, is a world where you are far more apt as a childless couple to stay connected romantically than if you did have kids. That's just a fact.
Okay.
That's not anti-kids. It's not anti-family.
It's not anti-anything.
It's just a recognition that something as stressful and time-consuming and biology changing as procreating and having kids
right.
is a major detriment to two people staying together romantically. It
makes sense. It makes sense. You have to commit to it, I think.
The ladies in our lives, and this sounds sexist, but there's science behind this. The ladies in our lives are more sensitive to that than the men. So you'll have a lady who's just way overwhelmed, a mother, with these children, the well-being of the children, the logistics of the family. Women tend to be the logistical managers within the family,
right?
And all this stuff, and it's consuming. Plus her advancing age. A lot of women are perimenopausal; they don't even know it.
Right.
In their early 40s.
Yeah.
And all of this is just, and it just smothers sexuality and romance and everything else. And then here's Mr. Man. No matter how bad of a day he had, he's ready to go. And he walks in the door, and if his wife said, "How was your day?" and he's like, "I got fired." If that wife said, "Well, do you want to go upstairs?" he'd probably say, "Yeah,
of course."
Of course. So we're wired differently,
right?
And probably the majority of the men, when I ask them, "When did the wheels fall off your relationship romantically?" most of them will say, "When we had kids."
Sure,
that's when it went from here to here.
Right.
It's not anti-kid, it's anti-stress, I guess you could say. So kids are a major stressor.
There's this thing too that's going on that I call it the cult of busy. Everybody's got to do everything, and everybody's got to do every role, and everything's got to be awesome, and you can't show any sort of. It's like we're all on Falcon Crest or Dallas.
You're showing your age, my friend.
I know.
Falcon Crest. I haven't heard that one in a while.
Thanks.
And Dallas, good stuff. Who shot JR? I remember that. So, but you're tapping into something again too. That and again, I'm not picking on you, ladies. Sorry, but ladies are more susceptible to that pressure to overperform in that way.
Yeah.
So
guys too, but I'm probably girl. Women,
I've been the single dad at the PTO meetings, and when they say who wants to volunteer for, there's always that gal that's like me, and you're looking at her going, "How do you have time for this?" And the answer is they don't. They don't have.
They just do it.
But
anyway.
they kill themselves.
Right.
They try to cram, put something in every hour of every day.
We all know these people.
We all know these, and they end up driving themselves nuts.
Yeah.
And they end up needing 2 bottles of wine at the end of the day to calm themselves down because they've just taken on way too much.
Right.
And their husbands are over there going, "Who told you to do all this stuff? Why are you killing yourself over this? Why do you do this?" And she's in the car going, "I have to do this." And he's like, "Why?
Right.
You don't have to do any of that stuff."
Right.
It's perplexing to the guy in the relationship, but you're right. And what doesn't help is the old social media thing, putting stuff in their face saying, "Here's what the perfect moms do."
Right.
Look at her. She looks like a fitness model, and she works 4 jobs, and she runs
and she's 60, and she's better looking than you.
And she's 60, and she looks like she's 30. You should too. So it's a lot of social pressure, and women are
Right.
more sensitive to that than the men are, it would
Totally.
seem. So there's a lot. Kids, what do we call it? Mommy martyrdom is a term, not so nice that we hear a lot. I'm a mother, gosh darn it. Don't you realize all the stuff I'm going through?
Right.
Yes, a lot of that is brought on by myself, taking on too much, but still,
Yeah.
a lot of that gets in the way of a lot of romance.
Right.
And coupled with, the baggage that we bring to the table, and I'm talking to the guys that I normally talk to, Mr. Anxious and anxiously attached guy and the avoidant wife, it's a recipe for disaster. And if you don't know what you're doing, it doesn't inevitably end in like something like infidelity. That's
Right.
still the minority, but it inevitably ends in very much a disconnection between the two. However
Right.
that manifests, divorce, infidelity, whatever, or just
Right.
living a boring life.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
guy
yeah.
goes nuts.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
hear that all the time.
So I know, like, when I read the webpage, right, and you say, I like, it's very like, this is not a kumbaya kind of situation, which is great. You could do more of that, because every dude, well, I can't say every dude, but how about me? I'm that's very refreshing. The no BS. We're not gonna, like, hug and cry. Maybe we will, but it's
That
not,
may happen. And you know what? Hey, I'll be honest, it does
but
happen. You
It's
get a
not a
bunch of guys
goal,
together.
right? It's not a.
There you go.
Right.
It is. There is our industry lends itself to a lot of pomp and circumstance
BS.
and ceremony. BS. Thank you.
BS.
Where
Yes.
a bunch of guys in the woods beating drums shirtless and doing ayahuasca and crying, and it's like, I guess there's a place for that. Whatever. Sure, if that floats your boat, but no, that's not us. If you're looking for that other groups over there,
There's
that's not us.
lots of that. Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
It probably costs more and does less, but yes.
There you go. Yeah, you can charge a guy $20,000 to go to Costa Rica and get in the jungle and do all that stuff. And
Have you ever seen one of those up close and personal? Like, I can't remember what her name was. Oh, Chelsea Handler actually did a video essay of her going and doing ayahuasca down in South
No, I've
America.
not. I know her of her.
If you
but
ever see that, you'll never want to do ayahuasca. It's,
from what I understand, it
lots of
involves a lot of bodily fluids and
pooping
things.
and puking.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Coming out both ends. That sounds fun.
Yay, sign me up.
But then they all say the same thing. They're covered in their filth, and then they're like, "It's the best thing. I'm a new me,
No,
and I
it's
can
just
see the universe in a new way." I'm like, okay, I guess. I don't know how long that lasts,
okay.
but sure.
You do you. That's
We're on the same wavelength. I'm a little cynical about that stuff. That's not me, and that's not our group. Our group
Right.
is real men with real issues, talking about real things.
yeah. And
all
you can
day,
do it
every
on
day.
Zoom. And if you want to go to the party, do that too.
There you go.
Right.
Very well put. Yeah.
Sorry. I've been retired for a while, so my social filters are lacking.
That's good.
All right. Well, what else do we need to talk about, Ralph? I think we can wrap up. Let's tell
Okay.
people how they can get in touch with for helpformen.com/Vroom. Anything
There you
else
go.
we need to know?
Pretty much everything's there. Helpformen.com/Vroom. You'll see we have a offer for an absolutely free course, the Dead Bedroom Fix course. It's me talking all about this stuff with the keeping connected, romance, and being a more secure individual, like 10 total videos all about that. Zero charge. You do have to put your name and email address. So we add you to
So
our
your
contact
charge
list.
is your
That's the
name and
catch.
your email. Yes.
There you go.
That's not a
and on top
big
of that, the book that I mentioned, which do I have a copy here? I think I do, to show
It's an
the Dead
actual
Bedroom
book.
Fix.
Yeah.
You get a PDF version, which is mobile friendly. You can read on your phone.
Yep.
No charge. So you get that as well for free. So you get a copy of the book.
Included, yep.
You get the course. So there you go. So your members can check that out, helpformen.com/Vroom. And then there's discounts on coaching one-on-one with myself, like 30% off. And then a discount on the Brotherhood membership, 30% off as well for that.
Wow.
So we would love to see you guys. Yeah.
That, and or you can just go read a bunch of stuff for free.
There you go. Read a bunch of stuff. I got videos out the wazoo, guys. If you're a video dude, which what I've learned over the last few years is if I want to
People
reach a
don't
lot of
read.
people,
Yeah.
video.
Yeah,
Guys
people
love
don't read.
YouTube.
Yes.
So you can find me, Dad Starting Over, Help for Men on YouTube as well, 2 different channels. Help for Men I've reserved for interviews with important people. So I have some
It
really
may
important.
happen that this video is on your YouTube channel. That would be okay with me.
Okay, very cool. We'll see clips from it on there. Absolutely.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you so much, Ralph, for hanging out with me for about an hour. This has been a blast.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And if you ever want to come back and talk more about maybe a new book or whatever you got going on, feel free.
Hey,
reach out.
Funny you mentioned that. I am in the process of writing a new book.
There you go.
So there you
Hit
go.
me
I'll
up.
let you know.
There you go.
All right.
Excellent. You have a good one.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks for taking the time to ride along with us on another episode of Vroom Vroom Veer. For podcast info and show notes, be sure to head over to vvveer.com. That's VVER.com. Man, that's fun to say. And we'll catch up with you next time here on Vroom Vroom Veer.